Go. Hello, coming to you today with this week's Accelerate Founders Insights. I've got Umang here, founder of Cookventry. How are you, Umang?
I'm good, Rob. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. It is Friday after all. So Umang, Cookventry, amazing solution, helping out consumers across the country. Do you want to start with just giving a bit of an introduction in terms of what Cookventry is and what made you sort of start out on this journey?
Sure, absolutely. As you know, household kitchen management is always time consuming and always challenging. And people find it really difficult to organize their pantry, plan out what they're going to cook tonight, and schedule their grocery runs. These grocery runs are never helpful. We end up buying things we don't need or just double up things that are already in our kitchen. What we aim to do is provide our users one single solution so that they can effectively manage their kitchen with ease. How it works is really simple. You take your smartphone, scan all the items you have, and we recommend recipes based on what you have in your kitchen. And you get a list of grocery items that are not in your pantry and things you can cook. It's a very simple solution, but the way we differentiate ourselves is providing one single platform so that users do not have to rely on notebooks, pen and paper, or multiple different apps.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 3 months into this journey, and we have recently launched our MVP, and we are currently working with all our users, getting them feedback, and making sure that all their feedback is taken into account before we do a full product launch.
Yeah, fantastic. You can't do too much validation and testing before you hit play. So, in terms of the app itself, I understand you're utilizing AI to help identify ingredients in the pantry or throughout the kitchen. So, can you tell me a little bit about why you selected AI for this and how you're going about utilizing it?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So the way we use AI is in few different ways, but the way we differentiate ourselves is using AI to identify items you have in your pantry, not just by taking a picture, but by just taking a simple video. The way it works is you take a video and for each individual items present in your pantry, we select the features that differentiate a product with one another. And based on that product, we tell the user what that product is and create a digital pantry out of it. The second place we use AI is to provide a recipe recommendation based on what we have detected. So these are the two major places that we have implemented AI, and we are planning to expand it more. But we want to make sure that we get these two correctly because, as you know, pantry is a huge space. We all like to shop from various different places, and depending on what our ethnicity is or what we like to eat today or tomorrow, we like to grab things from local stores to big supermarkets. So we want to make sure that we grab all the things that people like to use.
Yeah, fantastic. And among when we first caught up, I know you were telling me the story about where Cookventry came from, where the idea originated. I think that would be of interest to listeners. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So this was interesting. 3 months ago, I was coming back from home and I called my partner and I'm like, hey, what are we cooking for tonight? And she's like, let's just cook this. She was already at home, so she gave me a list of ingredients that I needed to buy. So on my way back home, I buy these things, reach home, and then I realized that I forgot two of those items. And um, we ended up doing Uber Eats anyway because it was just too late. Next day, uh, again, the same process, but this time she forgot to take into account, okay, there were a few tomatoes already in the kitchen. So we ended up cooking a different meal. So we have to move our entire grocery plan to next week. Again, time was a big problem. So I kept noticing this again and again and again, and then realized that it was just inefficient. And surely there could be a better way to do this. So I go online, look for apps that are able to do this. And what I found was that how huge the kitchen industry is, all the solutions out there are very fragmented. They all cover one or two aspects of kitchen and doesn't give me a holistic solution. So if I have to do an end-to-end kitchen management, I have to download 5, 6 different apps and work with all of them. And most of them rely on barcode technology, which is, I mean, as good as it is, it's pretty old school now. I'm not going to buy a new item and then do a barcode scan so that it's present in both the places. It's just too inefficient and double the work that I'm doing. So that's where I decided, hey, I can do things much better. So that's where Cookventry came in.
Yeah, fantastic. I think it's solving a real challenge in today's society. But in terms of your journey so far, Umang, what do you think's been your number one learning that you've picked up as you've gone throughout the founding journey?
Yeah, so I would say the number one learning for me has been not to perfect everything from the get-go, and be really scrappy with given the amount of resources and time that I have. Uh, One of the this is I learned this from one of the books I read before starting Cookventry. It's called The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, and what it highlights is that uh, don't always focus on perfect solution, but start with a problem and work towards a perfect solution. And that's what we aim to do. And that's why we didn't take much time to develop our MVP, because our aim is to build something based on initial hypothesis, put it in front of people, test that hypothesis, and make changes to the strategy. So while we have produced the initial version of the MVP, I wouldn't say it's the final version. It's always an in progress statement, and more feedback we get, the better the product fits as per the user needs. And that's what we want to position ourselves. I would say that's one of the valuable lessons I have learned.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, and that's a really good book, The Lean Startup, and I love that saying, start with the problem and work towards perfection. So I think that is a really valuable lesson and a valuable tip for any founders out there. Start with the problem, work towards perfection. Anything else you'd like to add to finish things up, Umang? Any other tips or
Uh,
ideas?
yeah, I would say just one last thing for any other founders out there. Um, don't worry about getting funding to do everything in the startup. In the startup, we all wear multiple hats. Essentially, no matter which background you come from, tech, marketing, sales, we are all salesmen for our own products. So yeah, just go out there, speak to people, get as much feedback as you can, and then work towards solving this problem.
Yeah, no, that's a amazing tip. So I work with a lot of founders that come from a tech background and introverted or don't necessarily like to put themselves out there. But as a founder, as you say, you're all salespeople. You're representing your solution. So the best way to get the word out there is to get out, network, speak to people, speak to as many people as you can. So thank you so much for your time today, Umang. I think there's a number of amazing tips in there. And yeah, really appreciate you spending the time with me today.
Thank you, Rob.